basically what we're showing here is Reform Enterprise with the plugins of Most and LANFax and kind of the ability of it. What I've done so far is I've downloaded the installation routines from the website and installed them just to save us a little bit of time. The 4 installations that I've downloaded from the website include Reform Enterprise, Most, Ricoh LAN Fax, and Most LANFax. And at this point I've only run through the installations, basically just clicking the next button, so that I haven't done any configuration yet. So I'm basically at the same stage everybody would be if they just downloaded the software from the website. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to open up the Reform Designer so that I can enter my evaluation code. So here I'm just going to go to Designer, Evaluate, and type in my email address. Now if I was getting a new evaluation code, I would just click this button here and it would open a website. But I already have mine written down here, so I'll just type that in. Say OK. Okay, so now our Reform Enterprise is running as an evaluation, which allows us to use all of the plugins. The next thing that I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to run the connection test for LANFax. And what that's going to do is just tell me if I meet all the requirements to use the LANFax plugin. To start the connection utility, I'm just going to go on my Start menu again to Reform Enterprise, LANFax, and I'm going to click on the Check Fax System shortcut. Here you'll see that it opens up to a window that displays the event monitor, and at this point there's nothing in there because we haven't used it yet. But the tab that we'll be interested in is the connection test. So here you can see there's a few different steps that need to be checked just to make sure that everything is installed properly. The first one is that the plugin is registered. The next one is to validate that the LANFax APIs are installed. And this is going to fail because I haven't installed my LANFax driver yet. So this is the type of message you would see if you don't have your driver installed. So what I'm going to do now is just take a few seconds to install the print driver. And this is just the typical installation of the Ricoh LANFax driver. Should be finished. So now when I validate the API is installed, it goes successfully, and it locates one LANFax print driver. We test the components are correctly set up. And the last thing is the Smart Device Monitor, which is also from Ricoh. And here you'll notice I don't have that installed as well. And this is typically what you would see if you just installed the software. And to install the Smart Device Monitor, we just simply go to the Smart Device Monitor installation tab here and click on the button. And you'll notice it starts the installation for you. So now we just need to step through the installation guide. And once this is complete, we'll most likely need to restart our PC for everything to start up correctly. So now that we have the software installed, if we continue checking our system, the last check on the utility should say it was successful. And we just want to double check that. And you'll notice in the event monitor that the service has started. Because we restarted our system, the service will now start automatically. And we also go through the entire connection test with all of the checks successful. Now, the next step for this to be set up is basically we want to add LANFax to our most screens. And to do that, we just go to our Start menu again into Reform Enterprise, and you'll see a subfolder called Most LANFax. And you'll see Install Most Screens. And we're just going to click on that. What it's going to bring up is our Most Designer, so we can import those screens to the designer. I'm going to say yes, I do want to import those. And I'm also going to add the new collection to my user. So I'm going to go to, in my Most Designer, I'm going to go Data, Users, and Groups. And the account that I'm going to log in with to demonstrate this is Demo. And you'll see I now have an available collection of LANFax. And that's the new one that we've just added here. So I'm going to add this to my selected collections. And I'm just going to move this to the top of the list so that when I log in, that's the first thing that I see. Here I'm going to save my settings. And I believe everything is done in the Most Designer now. So I can close this. Now, also in the Start menu, under Most LANFax, there's Most LANFax Setup. And this is something you want to run at least once after you install Reform. And this basically allows you to configure the print driver and various settings that are used when you're sending a fax. So the only LANFax driver I have installed is the LANFax M6. And I'm going to use the G3 line type. And now I can enter some information that will be placed onto the cover page of the fax. And for this demonstration, I'm just going to enter some values so we can see where they appear. Okay, and that's the end of configuring the LANFax setup. So the next thing that I need to do is basically start my Most Manager. And the Most Manager is the server-side application for Most. And to do that, we also go to our Start menu. And under Reform, we go to Most, and we'll see the Manager shortcut there. I skipped one step in here, is that I want to start my Reform spooler. So if I go to my Start menu again under Reform Enterprise, we'll have the spooler. Evaluate.